St. Lawrence Catholic Church in Egypt Lake, and this is a working class neighbourhood, so we're going to go and see what things are like inside in the church during the service and talk to some people. The first church we went to was St. Lawrence Catholic Church in Egypt Lake, which is about a 10-minute drive from downtown Tampa. The community is predominantly Hispanic. It is also a working class neighbourhood with median annual incomes $10,000 lower than the rest of Florida. We managed to interview the deacon of the church, a white elderly male. Out of all the people we interviewed, he was the only one to say that there was a good mix of social classes. Everyone else agreed that the neighbourhood was working class. When asked about the political leaning of the members of the church, he responded by saying that people tend to vote Republican because they come here to America and tend to appreciate the more traditional values. We also interviewed an Indian family. They had moved to the neighbourhood because of the husband's work, and they seemed to like the area. The husband works as a software engineer. They all agreed that it was a working class neighbourhood, and they stated that they know their neighbours but don't spend time with them. However, when asked if they felt that the neighbourhood was safe, they all hesitated to answer before the mother finally said yes, just as her son answered no. When asked if there was any way they think the neighbourhood could be safer, the husband responded that they would like there to be a screening process for people that want to move into the neighbourhood. This gave the impression that perhaps they aren't comfortable living so close to certain people. However, they did have 2 young children, so maybe it was just a case of them being protective parents rather than having a specific problem.
Okay, what's the racial makeup of this neighborhood? What do you guys think of the racial makeup?
It's fine, all working folks.
Oh, okay.
Many retired.
Do you think that has any bearing on the social class of this neighborhood?
Oh, sure. Especially south of here, all the Hispanic restaurants and coffee shops, and yes, yeah. I really, my parish is Sacred Heart, but I love the priest here. So this is why I attend this church.
Do people spend a lot of times working on their homes or yards in this neighborhood? Do you know?
Lucy?
With me.
Not you, but they do. It's right through here, and there are not many abandoned properties. Everything's taken care of.
Right.
They're all working people, and I think they want their homes to speak.
How long have you lived or worked in this neighborhood?
Mine? No. Not this neighborhood.
Well,
one very similar to it.
Hillsborough County.
Yes, my entire life, born and reared here.
Oh, okay. And then, what would you consider the general social class of this neighborhood to be?
Hard-working folks.
Hardworking.
Oh, hello there. We're here at St. Clement's Church, St. Clement's Catholic Church in Plant City, and we're in a lower class neighbourhood. So we're going to go find out what's inside.
Hello all, so me, Becky, and Dominic have just left St. Clement's Church in Plant City. Today we got to interview a couple women who work in the church store.
Do you know many of your neighbors?
Oh yeah, half of them are right in church. All my neighbors are in church.
Do you think your neighborhood is safe? Is there a lot of crime in your neighborhood?
Not mine.
No, we live in a senior community.
Oh, okay.
We have a neighborhood watch.
What do you think the average level of education is in the neighborhood?
Pretty close to it. Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. Well, we have, this church is over 50% of Hispanics.
Okay.
And I imagine some of them do have some problems, but I don't know.
I don't know. Did you say good health care?
Yeah, access to good.
Access to good. Oh, of course, we have good access, even if we
have
can't
good
afford
access.
last question. What do you consider the general social class of this neighborhood to be?
Well, these people are party animals.
There is a Spanish service offered at this church due to the large population of Hispanic people in this area. It is offered at a different time to the English service and attracts mostly Hispanics. These people attend the Mass with their whole family, as family life and religious beliefs are very important to them. As soon as we arrived at this church and parked the car, we saw two men in the car park. One was well dressed while the other was not, and he was standing next to a trolley selling ice cream. These men were both Hispanic. We approached them and told them what we were doing and if we can ask them some questions. One was very willing while the other started to run away and scream words in Spanish. It was then explained that the man thought we were immigration officers coming to arrest him as he was illegally here. The male who described this said that he has been in America for the last 30 years as he moved from Mexico to Texas and is now in Florida. The church grounds of this church facilitated many purposes. There was a childcare centre in which daycare was provided, there was a thrift shop in which poor people could shop, and there was a housing complex. From what we saw, Hispanic people lived in this complex. There was an old truck with a couch and furniture in the truck, and many cleaning supplies located outside. The church that we visited for the middle class was St. Stephen Catholic Church in Valrico, Florida. People did not attend church on Wednesday as much as they did on Sunday, and this was shown in the crowd that attended the Mass on a Sunday, where the parking lot was so full of cars that there was traffic to leave at the end of the Mass. In speaking with people that attend this church, they too agreed that it was either upper middle or middle class.
Do you see many issues with crime around here?
Yes, there would be kids, and I know Bloomingdale, of course, also has, I think, probably teenagers that will come in and brutalize even in the cars or break in cars and so forth like that.
So how long have you lived in this neighborhood?
Or this area?
Yeah.
I've lived here since '95.
Okay. And why did you choose to live here?
Because of the schools, and it was fairly close to my husband's employment, his job.
So do you think the schools are good around here then?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you do for a living?
I'm a nurse.
And what would you consider the general social class of the neighborhood to be?
Middle class.
What about the racial makeup of the neighborhood?
They're pretty varied. There is actually, there's African Americans, there's Asians, and there's East Indians, and so it's pretty varied.
Is there not a big Hispanic neighborhood?
Oh, and there's Hispanic,
Okay.
yes, yes, completely forgot. Well, no, there's, yes.
Okay.
And I'm Native American myself, so.
Okay. Do you think it has any bearing on the social class of the neighborhood?
No.
We interviewed a husband and wife that lived close to the church. The husband had lived there for his entire life. However, his wife moved there when she was in her 20s to be closer to her cousin. The male was a sheriff and said that the crime in this area was basically the same as crime in any other neighborhood in Hillsborough County. He said that education is important in this area.
Hi, this is Secret Heart Catholic Church in downtown Tampa.
The final church we attended was Sacred Heart Catholic Church in downtown Tampa. At Sacred Heart, we spoke to two elderly women who explained a bit about the history of the church. They talked about how the church was recently taken over by the Franciscans. They explained that the Franciscans' focus was on fundraising and looking after the poor. This ties into the fact that the wealth of the churchgoers ranges from millionaires to the homeless. The two women explained this variation by stating that residents of Bayshore, Harbour Island and Davis Island attend this church, as well as the people from Ybor and other typically poor local neighbourhoods.
What's the racial makeup of this neighborhood?
Predominantly white.
Do you think that has a bearing on the social class of the neighborhood? Yes. But then of businesses out in this neighborhood? A lot of small businesses, mostly restaurants and boutiques, and a lot of downtown business, like financial businesses. Which way do you think this neighborhood leans to politically? I'd say it's mostly, I know they just won the Democratic votes in the last election, but I would say it's more Republican. What do you like about this neighborhood? It's small to a point, and it's like you can get closure, and like it can be busy when you want it to be, it can be slow when you want it to be. Is there somewhere in Hillsborough County you'd rather live than here? No, I like living here.
We also spoke to a man in his 30s, and he provided us with good information about those that attend Sacred Heart. Like the elderly women, he also mentioned the huge variations in the economic wealth of those at church. He believed that most people had a college degree, and that the upper middle class were the majority. When referring to the political leaning, he said that some people are slightly liberal, some people are very conservative, and some people are in the middle.